All right, guys. So with the articles of impeachment against President Trump being set to be sent to the Senate on Monday, looks like that we're going to get the trial of former President Trump in the Senate sooner rather than later. Okay. And this, guys, is probably the biggest moment in recent history for both parties. Okay. For the Democrats, this is their opportunity to probably get rid of their biggest threat in President Trump forever. And at the very, very least, make the GOP make a harsh decision that could potentially divide the party for the next decade or so, which would probably basically guarantee Democratic victories in the elections, given how divided the GOP is over this decision. Now, the Democrats are so happy about this because they really want to stick it to Trump, okay? They want stiff justice for Trump. They don't want to go soft on him. I mean, they got a bone to pick with the man. And this is just the tip of the iceberg. And quite honestly, if they don't get this done, it will be hard for them to live this down. So they have to rise to the occasion. Again, you don't have to believe me. Just listen to Chuck Schumer.
The fact is, the House will deliver the article of impeachment to the Senate. The Senate will conduct a trial of the impeachment of Donald Trump. It will be a full trial. It will be a fair trial. But make no mistake, there will be a trial, and when that trial ends, senators will have to decide if they believe Donald John Trump incited the insurrection against the United States.
All right, Chuck Schumer says that they're going to have to decide if Trump is guilty of inciting an insurrection. Okay, I mean, I guess his mind was stuck between a rock and a hard place during this little speech that he was given on the floor. These Democrats, man, they so funny. The jokes write themselves. I hope you guys got all that, but who knows? On a serious note here, for the GOP, this is also huge, obviously, right? For some of the reasons I outlined in regards to Democrats, but there seems to be a clear divide that is really, really, really fracturing the party, as you see people like House Minority Leader Kevin McCarthy for the GOP standing by Trump. Okay, McCarthy, guys, in my opinion, has really impressed me lately because, you know, he's saying all the right things. He's not allowing himself to be bullied by the media, and ultimately he's looking out for the long-term best interest of the party and the people that elected him. Okay, so let's take a look at his press conference in which the journalists try to ask him some really hardball questions, and I really think he knocked it out of the park.
To follow up on that, Leader McConnell has said that former President Trump and other important people provoked those folks to come to the Capitol. Do you believe that former President Trump provoked?
I don't believe he provoked if you listen to what he said at the rally. Yes, sir.
What role should former President Trump have in the Republican Party going forward?
Look, going forward, every former president still has a role within their party for the time basis. This president brought a lot of great success within. He brought people to the party that haven't been involved before, and he should continue to engage in that way. But the one thing, I got to ask a question earlier about what should the Republican Party focus or who should be the leader within the party. The one thing we learned in the last 4 years that President Trump brought forward, that he listened to voices that no one else was hearing on either party. Those are the voices we should continue to hear. And you know what they're saying right now? They're watching an administration that says 11 million illegal immigrants are now going to become citizens. You almost have 11 million Americans who are out of work right now. Who's listening to their voice? Or to the millions of parents out there that want to have their children go back to school to have an education. Who's championing for them? When we signed back up to the WHO without getting any accountability or any answers to why did they lie to the world? Or to the union worker who's building the Keystone Pipeline. Idea that we're going to lower our energy costs, make us stronger around the world, less dependent on the Middle East. That America became energy independent just about a year ago. And why are we moving backwards? Why are we making the cost higher? Those are the people who both parties should be listening to. Those are the things that should be working. So no, when they hear the majority leader and the Speaker of the House say, take the next week off, they probably very concerned about both parties. When they hear that the first actions that we take aren't about getting the economy moving again, they're wondering who's listening in Washington. I'm going to promise you this. We're listening and we'll take action. Yes, sir.
Yo, my boy McCarthy. I'm really starting to like McCarthy. McCarthy, to me, he handled this like a G. He straight up said, if you listen to President Trump's speech, actually, if you read it, guys, I've already talked about this. The man specifically said, go peacefully, be peaceful. He specifically said it. It's in the transcript, guys. So to me personally, this whole impeachment thing, it should be just done based off of the transcript of the speech, right? This is purely a Democrat game that a lot of these Republicans are falling into. And really, the Democrats are falling into their own game because they're setting a very dangerous precedent here with this impeachment that can easily bite them in the butt if so happens one day there's a Democratic president who slips up and there's a Republican House and Senate. Okay? So the Democrats are playing with a dangerous game. And them moving forward with this really, I think, in the future is going to bite them in the butt. Precedent is important in politics for a reason. Now, Kevin McCarthy also talked about Trump's role in the GOP moving forward. He gave the perfect answer. Okay, this stuff is not hard. It's not rocket science. You can't dump the former president, who's probably the most popular Republican president since Reagan. You can't just dump the man and be like, oh no, you're not part of the party anymore. Okay, that is going to lead to immediate implosion. President Trump brought people to this party that were never Republicans. He's made this Republican Party the most diverse Republican Party that they've had probably since the Civil Rights era. Okay? So those are things that they don't want to easily let go and give up. And them voting to convict the president is only going to do that. And then Kevin McCarthy also focused on the policy. Okay? He focused on the fact that President Trump spoke to a lot of people in this country that have not had their voices listened to, that feel like they've been ignored, right? Which is huge for him to acknowledge that, right? And then he talked about policy. He talked about how Biden is not, focused on the economics. He's focused on, transgender issues and illegal immigration and, taking jobs away with the border wall and the Keystone Pipeline. It was all perfect. I don't understand, my boy. I mean, again, this is what the Republicans should be doing. This is what they should be saying. Kevin McCarthy is hitting this perfectly. He's like, no, we should censure the president, which is like a formal denouncement. Okay, do the formal denouncement, but we should not vote to convict. That's the perfect middle ground that the Republicans should take. So I 100% agree with McCarthy here. However, there is a big divide in the Republican Party because, CNN, and I know it's CNN. I know how you guys feel about CNN, but it is what it is. They're reporting this, and it's interesting and related to what I want to talk about, so I'm going to talk about it. That McConnell privately says he wants Trump gone as Republicans quietly lobby to convict. Okay, so there's been all types of stories about how McConnell is feeling about Trump, and this is just the latest one. So let's take a look at it and see what we can get out of this. As the House prepares to send articles of impeachment to the Senate on Monday, CNN has learned that dozens of influential Republicans around Washington, including former top Trump administration officials, have been quietly lobbying GOP members of Congress to impeach and convict Donald Trump. The effort is not coordinated but reflects a wilder battle inside the GOP between those loyal to Trump and those who want to sever ties and ensure he can never run for president again. The lobbying started in the House after the January 6th attack on the Capitol and in the days leading up to the impeachment. But it's now more focused on Senator Mitch McConnell, the powerful minority leader, who has signaled he may support convicting Trump. Mitch said to me he wants Trump gone, one Republican member of Congress told CNN. It is in his political interest to have him gone. It is in the GOP interest to have him gone. The question is, how do we get there? I personally vehemently disagree with that statement. It is not in the best interest of the GOP to have President Trump gone. It is in the best interest of the GOP to keep Trump as a part of the party, right? And most importantly, take the ideas that Trump had and his message that resonated with so many people in this country and put some of those ideas in the official party platform, okay? Now, moving forward, whether or not Trump wants to run again, who knows? We don't know what Trump's going to do at this point. But you should let the voters decide who they want to represent them in the Republican Party. So they should not vote to convict just based off that. If people want President Trump to run again and they want him to be president again, he should be given the opportunity to do so. That's democracy. Okay, democracy is not the government telling people that, hey, this person can't be president. That's not democracy. So they need to ensure that if the president wants to run again, he can run. And guess what you guys should do? If you guys don't want him to be the leader of the party, or you are you afraid that he might win a Republican nomination in 2024, maybe you should run a better candidate. Maybe you should get some better policy ideas. Maybe you should steal parts of his message that resonate with a lot of people in this country. I don't know. Maybe you should change it up a bit. Switch things up. That might work. McConnell had proposed delaying the trial until February, but the articles coming to the Senate on Monday, the process will likely be set in motion sooner. It would take 17 Republicans to join all 50 Democrats in order to convict. While the bar is high, some GOP sources think there is more of an appetite to punish the former president than it is publicly apparent. Quote, there were 10 House Republicans who voted for impeachment. There will probably be over 150 who supported it, said Charlie Dent, a former Republican congressman and CNN contributor. The ongoing Republican whisper campaign, according to more than a dozen sources who spoke to CNN, is based on a shared belief that a successful conviction is critical to the future of the Republican Party. Multiple sources described this moment as a reckoning for the party. Well, I definitely will say that is true. It is definitely a moment of, reflection in the Republican Party in regards to where they want to go in the future. I really do believe that there are certain elements about Trump that they really should hone in on, that Kevin McCarthy talked about, that they need to take from Trump. Don't distance him from the party. Let him have a role and a say, and go from there. Okay? This is what the people who voted for you guys want. You're representatives of the people. Convicting this man is not representative of the people who voted for you guys. Okay? So, if you guys choose to convict, if they choose to convict, say goodbye to the GOP. Say hello to super liberal, far left policy agendas that the Democrats are inevitably going to try to push, because they're being dragged further and further and further left by the AOCs of the world, the Rashida Tlaibs, the Ilhan Omars, the squad types. Even though the Democrats don't like them, they're still being dragged left, right? To a certain extent. You see the $15 an hour minimum wage. Biden just straight up proposing that. Okay? And Biden's supposed to be one of the more conservative Democrats. So the Republicans better get their stuff together, man, and really get some ideas, and really transform this party into, whatever they want the future party to be, which should include some elements of Trump. I really do believe that. Or else prepare to have a Democrat-run country for the next decade. So let me know what you guys think. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Most importantly, share a Black conservative perspective. Peace.